Welcome and thank you so much for joining us. It's a beautiful afternoon. This is your Viewpoint, a program sponsored by Integrated Communication Services. If this is your first time of joining us, this program is designed to encourage moral values in our society and, of course, provide possible solutions to societal issues. Today, we're looking at what can help us determine who is a good leader, a progressive leader, an effective leader, a leader that will deliver. We're looking at what are the possible factors we need to consider. Of course, it's time for elections. Elections is approaching very fast. And of course, it's about time for people to decide who to vote for, who to put in that position to lead them. And of course, it's about time for us to talk about what to look out for when choosing who you call the right leader. I have in the studio at this time Tosin Akonde, a legal practitioner and also a journalist. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Rotimi, it's always a pleasure to be with you.
All right. He's been here before and, of course, he's here again to talk about very vital issues that we need to talk about. If we do not talk about them, who will? So we then need to talk about all of this. And this time around, we are trying to identify who is an effective leader. How do we get to know a leader that will deliver? And that is exactly what we want to focus on this time around. But first, there's a need for us to understand what leadership is, what leadership is not. Most of the time, because of what we have in our environment, a lot of information we have, a lot of knowledge, a lot of things people have heard and all of that. And most of the time, it seems there are a lot of misconceptions about who a leader is. So let's start from leadership, what it is, especially as it relates to a country of about more than 200 million, so to speak. When we talk about leadership, looking at Nigeria as a state, who is a leader?
Leadership and the question of who a leader is are mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive in the sense that you can't be a good leader without the incidences of leadership coming on you. All right, so a good leader, let me start with the person. A good leader is one who is able to take a glimpse into the future to see the challenges and to see the advantages that surround his people. Okay. And this ability to navigate from zero to becoming hero for the people.
Okay.
A good leader is that person, could be a man, could be a woman, who is able to carry the burden of his people, their collective aspirations, and ensure that they bath on a safe landing. Now, leadership involves the processes, and it's a little bit more tasking than being a leader, because in being a leader you are an individual. Okay. But in leadership you are now going to be in the mix with several other people, different kinds of persons. You are going to be dealing with some leaders too, because your leadership position is that which came by providence or by fortuity, because others too could have been there. All right, so you'll be dealing with some leaders too. Okay. On the one hand, you also be dealing with those who don't even have leadership acumen at all. You also be dealing with people who are not even just there yet. All right, so leadership now makes it a little bit more difficult to talk about. But the fact is, a good leader embraces the difficulties, the hardships, and whatever advantages that exist within himself and the people and their land and their geography, their climate, what have you, to ensure that they have the best of times.
All right, as we look at a number of places where we have leaders in the religious centers, politically, in the educational centers and all of that, how would you rate the level of leadership in this part of the world, talking about Africa? Most of the time, we want to look outside Nigeria, we want to look outside the continent, and of course, look forward or look up to people who are leaders, and we want to assume they are better leaders, so to speak. So, rating leaders in this part of the world, how would you put it?
For me, I am of the opinion that maybe because I'm a cultural activist,
Okay.
I need to whet your appetite with that.
Okay.
I don't necessarily look up to those abroad to find examples.
But you know we do that a lot.
I
in
know,
Nigeria.
that's why I'm telling you that.
Okay.
Because my inclination is far different. All right, that's why I'm saying that as a cultural activist.
Okay.
You see, the fact is, whatever you need in this place, in this part of the world, is already part of here. We don't necessarily have to go abroad and import things that might end up not working. God knows why he put those things there. It's for those people. You don't necessarily bring everything, hook, line, and sinker. Like my pastor also says, fisherman and boat. You don't have to bring everything. There are certain things that are only meant to be found. There are certain cures that are only to be found here.
Okay.
You don't bring everything from there. If you are talking about good leadership, we don't have to go abroad. We had the likes of people like Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who set a pace at that time. Can you imagine? As at 1957, when we had the NTA Badon here, France was here to have a TV authority. I'm talking about the same France in Europe today. You know, so there are so many firsts that he put in place for all that. Some people are still struggling to catch up with that kind of attainment, that height today. What the man did as far back as 1957. So we are talking about leadership. We are talking about people like, look at Alhaji Jakonde, for instance, who had more or less just 4-year term. But look at everywhere, you see all those estates. They were done in 4 years. So you are not going to allow any contemporary or modern governor to come and start telling you that he will need 8 years to do something that is far, maybe 1/10 of what those people did within a time lapse of.
Okay, let's talk about the qualities of some of these leaders.
Yes.
You mentioned that, okay, you don't have to go out there, you don't have to bring everything from there.
You don't have
but when we talk about qualification, experience, and all of that, you realize that some of these leaders would have to go out there, possibly to learn more, so to speak, and all of that. In that regard, how would you say that education or educational qualification, so to speak, and experience will determine the effectiveness of a leader?
Well,
we
shoot ourselves in the leg a lot.
Okay.
We do that, and it comes back to haunt us. Look at the combination we had as at independence, for example. With due respect, Alhaji Tafawa Balewa went to school, Teachers Training College. He went to school. Would you compare with him with a certain Azikiwe, who had a PhD as far back as that time, but who was made the prime minister, who was made the ceremonial leader? Zik, who had more access and deeper Western education, accepted to be ceremonial leader, unlike Tafawa Balewa, who had less Western education.
Okay, with that, which one would you say it's
I'm
more
telling you
important?
basically that you don't need much of academic qualification to determine leadership. One who has primary 6 education, for example, in those days of yore, is, believe it or not, it's more or less like a sophomore college now. I wouldn't say a graduate. A sophomore student now, that's a student in year 2. My grandmother had primary 6 education. This woman will teach you handwriting. Today's graduates can't even write. How much to talk about the aesthetics of their writings. All right, so she will teach you all that. She will teach you songs. Songs are means of, you know, educating, passing education better and faster to children, to learners. All right, so these people could speak English. I remember anytime, whenever, it's on a lighter note anyway. Anytime Mama had issues with some of her neighbors, she was quick to go to the police station because she could speak English. And most of her contemporaries that time, this, you do that, this, you know, they can't convey the formal English language to the officer, so they are more or less in trouble. Basically, what I'm driving at, and I want the viewers to understand to get, is that it is we humans that put a kind of limitation on the flow of leadership flows. If you see a leader, a born leader, if he comes into the studio now, we will all feel his or her presence. You will see the leverage on everybody. How are you? Comfort, material. They want you to be comfortable. They want to, at least, if you can't be competitive, be comfortable. Just where you are. How are you doing? Hope you're fine. These are the attributes of a good. He wants, his burden is that, look, I can see joy, I can see greatness, but these people can't see it.
You don't expect
I want to bring
everybody
it
to be like that anyway.
That's why we are
when
talking
we talk about personalities.
Rotimi,
so
that's
to
why we are
speak.
talking
Yes.
about you people leave the certain positions for the leaders, for born leaders, not just for people who will meet or satisfy the preferences of a few called the oligarchs, you know, the minority few. These people, those who determine the fate of the millions of Nigerians there are not up to, they are not up to 5,000 in number if we put them all together. All right. So these are some of the challenges. We need someone who can help us transform the problems that we have. I mean, we don't have everything that are supposed to be basic amenity. We don't have. It's sad.
Okay, we are still talking about leadership at this time. We've been talking about identifying leaders that will deliver. There's a need for us to look at how people see leaders who are supposed to be leaders. Now, I need us to talk about the attributes people look out for, which could be wrong. Now, as a result of their needs and all of that, like the other time you were talking about, okay, when a leader comes in, wants people to be comfortable, is concerned about the welfare of people and all of that. But you know, at the same time, we have persons that can do that falsely, for false reasons, so to speak, possibly because of what they want to gain. So how do you differentiate that
To be
from a real leader?
It's for crying out loud. It's simple.
Okay.
When something is being forced, you will know, you can tell. When it is not forced, when it is done with ease, consummate ease, that is the person we are talking about. Now, I wouldn't want
How do you know
Nigerians-
it's done with ease?
You can feel it. Okay, let me give you an example.
Okay.
Let me just give you an example. I said somebody will come in here and wants to ensure that we all are doing well, we all are fine. Certain people will come here, will just take their seat. You will know by their fruits, we shall know them. Certain people are not, without, I mean, with due respect to everyone in a particular hall at any point in time. When such people come in, you will know. Others will come in, they will just take their seat. Some will come in, instead of them to follow the other one that who just took his or her seat, they will start faulting everybody. Why are you not sitting well? Why is your head turned this way? Why is your head turned that way? Why are you wearing this? Why are you not wearing this? Why? No, those ones are problem finders. But we are talking about a leader who is looking for solution. That's the thing that will flow. It's you will know.
Solution provider.
You will know. Those are some of the attributes. Okay, a friend asked me, because I was telling my friends that I'll be on NTA 10 and I want my friends to watch that program. So they were like, why are you going to tell them? I said, they say, how do we find a good leader, for instance? I said, it's simple. Look at his past records. As antecedents, it matters. You look at his today. You just don't go for antecedents and forget today. Somebody might have been so good 10 years ago, but now he's criminally minded. You just go and be guided by the past. I'm sorry, with due respect to those who don't speak that language, you just end up being disappointed. That's what I'm trying to say, because, you know, everything I speak about on TV, there is always an interplay of language, arts, humanities, fields, religion, what have you. So it's education in the round for me when I have an opportunity to be on set, be it TV or the radio or in the papers. All right. So you look at the past, it's important. Look at the antecedents. Where is the person coming from? You want to take us somewhere, you must have a place where you are coming from, not so. Okay. So you look at the present. What is the person doing right now? And then you consider those two. If you can't do that, I remember very well when we were in secondary school and we were being taught literature in English. My literature teacher will say there are 3 ways by which you can understand the lead character in a work of art. He said you look at what he says about himself, you look at what others are saying about him or her, and then you look at what he also does. It's not enough to just be talking. Anybody can come in and talk, but how many people can walk the talk? All right. So it's very important that you look at some of these things and you let them guide you. Above all, and again I repeat it, above all, be guided by your conscience. I leave it at that.
Okay. The other thing we need to also look at, like I said before, I talked about the fact that a number of people get deceived, by actions and gestures and all of that. At this point in time, where we have, people contesting and all of that, all of those things you've mentioned, how would people try to understand that? How would they be able to apply that in choosing, especially?
Rotimi, you have asked a very, very fundamental question. Fundamental in the sense that many Nigerians don't even have a full grasp of the concept of democracy.
Okay.
They don't. Because if they do, you will realize that the caliber of people we voted, there are three arms of government, not so. The legislature, the judiciary, and the executive. Of these three, only the judiciary is non-political. It's a professional career. I mean, it consists of hierarchy of cadres and what have you. To get to become the Chief Justice of the Federation, the CJF, the CJN, you go to school, you first of all read law, qualify for 10 years to be a judge, then you move up. Okay, that's for the judiciary. But we're talking now about the other two, which are elective in nature, the legislative and the executive. The kinds of traits that we want in someone who is a legislator, for example, will not have to necessarily be in an executive person.
Okay.
For instance, in the legislature, you basically be doing arguments, debates on the floor of the house. But for a governor, the phrase action governor, those in the executive need not be that fiery. They don't need to be that fiery. So you look at their temperament, they have to be people who are cool and calm and calculated, triple C kind of persons. All right, people who will walk the talk, people who will say, okay, in the next 2 years, I want to provide across Lagos State government, across Lagos State, for example, I want to provide 250,000 home units. And who are going to do it? In doing that, you don't have to be shouting. But if you are going to the legislature, you must be sound, mentally alert.
Mentally alert. Okay, we will take this break. Yes, and after this break, we'll be back to talk more about that. You're still watching Your Viewpoint. Please stay tuned.
Did you know that skin bleaching refers to the use of products to lighten dark areas of the skin or achieve an overall lighter complexion? These products include bleaching creams, soaps, and peels, as well as professional treatments like chemical peels and laser therapy. There is no health benefit to skin bleaching. Results aren't guaranteed, and there is evidence that skin lightening can result in serious side effects and complications. When you apply a skin bleaching product to the skin, such as hydroquinone, it decreases the melanin in your skin. This can result in lighter skin and a more even appearance to the skin. Here are 5 side effects of skin bleaching. Nephrotic syndrome. This is a kidney illness caused by damage to the blood vessels that filter waste and excess water in your kidneys. It makes your body expel an excessive amount of protein in your urine. Mercury-containing skin whitening cosmetics have been linked to nephrotic syndrome. Swollen feet and ankles, faulty urine, loss of appetite, and exhaustion are some of the symptoms. Steroid acne. This can be caused by skin bleaching products that contain corticosteroids. With long-term usage of corticosteroids, steroid acne typically affects the chest, although it can also appear on the back, arms, and other regions of the body. Whiteheads and blackheads, little red pimples, huge painful red lumps, and acne scars are all possible symptoms. Exogenous ochronosis. This is a skin condition that results in blue-black pigmentation. It commonly happens as a side effect of using hydroquinone-based skin bleaching treatments for a long time. People who use it on a wide scale or on their entire body are more prone to acquire it. Contact dermatitis. This has been connected to the use of skin bleaching products in case studies and reports. This is a type of skin inflammation brought on by interaction with certain chemicals. Skin redness, blisters, skin ulcers, hives, dry scaly skin, swelling, itching, burning, and tenderness are all symptoms that can range from mild to severe. Kidney disorder. This is often caused by damage to the blood vessels in the kidneys responsible for filtering waste and excess water. It causes the body to excrete too much protein in your urine. Skin lightening creams containing mercury have been associated with nephrotic syndrome. Symptoms of this include foamy urine, loss of appetite, swollen feet and ankles, and fatigue.
All right, thank you so much for staying there. You're still watching Your Viewpoint on NTA Channel 10. Of course, it airs on Star Times 103. I've been speaking with Ose Akonde, a legal practitioner, also a journalist, and we'll be talking so much about how to identify leaders that will deliver. Of course, it's time to choose new leaders, and of course, we should have an idea of what it is leaders should be. What are the attributes you should look out for? And the other time before we went on that break, we talked about how to apply those methods. You know, those things you look at. Okay, initially you talked about when somebody walks in and all of that, the characters, the attributes,
the temperaments,
so to speak, their personalities.
That's
you talked about
right.
being cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah.
So all of these things for a man on the street of Lagos, so to speak, somebody who's not been to school. You talked about cool, calm, collected, somebody who is not so educated and all of that. What are those things that person should look for? Oh, it's time to vote for someone again. What are those things I should look for?
You see, I was saying something before we went on break, that education is important. There are two institutions that I would fault for the misunderstanding by many of the people down there on the streets. One, the political parties themselves have a great role to play. I think many of them they've failed to come to the party. They think that it's only every cycle of 4 years that they will see us. No. From the very date of conclusion of the president election now, from the next day afterwards, they are supposed to keep educating and educating. In fact, that's what gives you ease of membership. People will naturally be drawn to where they want to be educated, where they want to be informed. So the political parties need to step up their levels. They hardly educate the people. But when it's time for voting, elections, you see them saying, it is this one. That is education. If you don't know, it is this one that has pantry that you should put your... That's education. And that is just even about the last of the kinds of education. They should be talking to people, educating them about the norms, the tenets of democracy. Also, INEC, I believe, when set up, has a department called the Voters Education Department or Civic Engagement Department. They should have. Even in the military, there is a department like Military Civil Relations. So that's why I know that the army and the military, by extension, are so well organized. But how can a democratic institution like the INEC have a mere department and they are not doing their best to educate these people? They should be the ones to educate them. And even the lawmakers, the elected people yourselves, the lawmakers that are educated are not exempt from taking a portion of the blame. Because when people come to realize that in the legislature, what you do basically is argument. You need someone who is coming from that kind of world. How many kinds of debates has he been exposed to when he was in school? Or you think the extracurricular activities that take place in school are just there for nothing? You think they are just there for fun? My younger sister used to tease me. Anytime she's with my wife, she said, don't mind him, he's always argumentative. Maybe it's because of the debate he did in school. I said, oh, so you know that it conditions you. Because so if that's why the last two elections that I ever participated in, I never sought office in the executive. I wanted to be in the legislature, so where I can champion.
What stopped you?
Oh, well, the first one, we were stopped at the primaries, and as a good Democrat, you have to allow them. The party wanted somebody else.
Or possibly you didn't know what you were supposed to do.
No. Well, no, it couldn't have been.
Okay.
I'm a Democrat. Once, if people gather and you conduct an election, I'll be the first to accept and congratulate the winner. Once the people power is close to God's power, once the people have concluded and have spoken.
Or was it that you were not popular?
It's not so. I choose my words.
Okay.
In fact, I was supposed to, because we had debates. About 22 of us at the Mainland Hotel at Oyingbo. Okay. I'm talking about 2011 now. We had a debate, and people could see for themselves that, this is the man. But the party hierarchy wanted somebody else. Give it to them. Don't fight. I don't.
And you do not see that as part of the problems we have in choosing leaders.
It's all part of democracy. And I'll keep telling people anytime, any day, whether you like it or yes. It's not about whether you like it or yes. It is God ultimately that puts people in power. All right. In 2019, I ran for the House of Reps. 2011 was House of Assembly. 2019 was House of Reps. So when I'm talking, without sounding arrogant, I know what I am saying. I've participated, and that's why I keep telling people, election is not what you fight over. I believe that God put people in power and in offices.
Let's look at this. When you say God puts people in power,
That's true.
now, are you trying to put aside the processes, the procedures? Yes, because if you say God puts, yes, we want to agree that, okay, there's God. We
Yeah.
acknowledge the presence of God
That's true.
in all of these things, and that's when we're talking about spirituality and all of that. But at the same time, should we not look at issues that come up? Take, for instance, like what you said, the hierarchy wanted somebody else to be there. Is it the handwork of God?
It's all part of God. It's all in the scheme of things of God.
God.
It's all in the scheme of things of God.
But in that regard, should voters, when it's about time to choose leaders and all of that,
Yeah.
now, how would you like voters to think? Now, because if we look at this,
you have to be
yes.
careful. I'm not an autocrat.
Yes, no,
I
absolutely.
wouldn't force my thoughts
No.
on the electorate.
Yes, we are talking about how to get the best leadership
Yeah.
now. So, for people who would choose leaders, now, what are those things we expect from them? What are those things we expect them to think
Those
about?
are the things we've been talking about.
Yes, absolutely. Now,
As a voter's education.
yes,
That's why I also said that get to understand for offices in the executive.
now this is where I'm going.
All right.
We are quite religious in Nigeria.
I know.
Yes, and when it comes to choosing leaders, you see some people are laid back, and the thought is that, okay, whoever God wants to be there will be there. So, do I need to vote? Do I need to do this? Do I need to take any action? That is exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. Let me come to you this way. Before you do anything at all, accept that position and that line of thought.
Okay.
That we will only. That's why I like the NMA, the Nigerian Medical Association. I like their general motto. We care, but God heals.
Heals. Okay.
And then when I was in primary school, again back to primary school, do your best and leave the rest.
the rest, okay.
That's why I'm in a position to talk today. And that's why I keep saying, without sounding arrogant, I have contested in 2 elections and failed. So I can come out and share memoirs and experiences with the rest of the public. And that's why I'm appealing to them. No matter the provocation, please don't get or resort to violence. Let's be mature. And maturity, that's why you can't talk about contemporary democracy. Honestly, you have to give it once again to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. As an incumbent in Africa, losing an election, I mean, it's very rare. It's very rare. And then he lost, and look at his words today are etched on the marbles of history. When he said, my ambition, the blood of any Nigerian is not worthy, does not worth the blood of any Nigerian.
Yes.
That's fantastic. As a matter of fact, he was referred to during the last time that Trump failed, the one that threw up Joe Biden in the US. They were referring to Jonathan at a point. In America, it's a plus for that man and for Nigeria. It's a plus.
All right.
Do you get, before we move,
yes.
do you get what I'm saying now?
Okay.
We know that God, I'm a fatalist. I believe in the ultimate fate. Providence, settles all things. But above all, still do your best. And part of your best is the voters' education we are talking about, that they should seek either from the INEC or from the political parties. It's very important. What I'm saying is I'm lamenting the fact that political parties don't do voters' education. INEC, trying, they are not stepping up. They need to step up their game.
Okay, thank you so much. I have been speaking with Tosin Akode. Now, let's look at the issue of corruption. All right, how it has affected how people choose, how people get to identify leaders.
Okay.
How it has affected people's orientation, so to speak, especially at this time.
Yeah.
What do you have to say?
Especially
when we talk about stomach infrastructure.
But they've been educating them in ample supplies, if it comes to that one. Because I hear several jingles that 5,000, 10,000 naira is never even up to 10K.
In fact, you should divide it by 4 years.
So it's not, it's more or less you are mortgaging your future and that of your children if you keep collecting money from these people. So Nigerians should be wiser. It's just the problem of being penny wise and pounds foolish. Okay. So they need to get that into their heads that, look, we won't collect your money. We want to do what is right. All right. So until we're able to do what is right, then Nigeria will never move forward. Then in addition, I remember very well during my election experiences of 2019, everywhere I went to paste posters, even area boys wanted money. Even those who are not area boys wanted money.
Demanded. Okay.
So until that kind of situation leaves us, it's an ugly situation which will birth nothing good.
How do we leave that? How do we erase that?
There are some things it's just time. You give it time. Something tells me that probably that happened too at a point in the US, you know, so but now they've gone past it. So it's time. There are some things that are just time bound.
So how long do you think it will take Nigeria to go beyond that, so to speak?
Maybe for the next 50 or 100 years. Look, like you said in your build up to the question,
yes,
corruption is now seriously
eating deep, right?
It's now official in Nigeria, if I may even add.
Okay, a lot of people would disagree with that.
But then they will do so at their own peril.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's take some messages. We have some messages here. This is from Imo Abasi. It says, the truth is the importance of a good leader in a nation like Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. It is important to know that it's our duty to select leaders that would make this country a better place. We need to vote for the right candidate by looking at their previous achievements and their leadership qualities. You as a legal practitioner, a journalist and all of that, you have a lot of information at your fingertips,
to God be the glory.
When it comes to choosing, what are those things you are looking out for? You know, we have a set of top 5 contestants, so to speak, aspirants. So looking at what we have on ground, the people we have on ground, without having to mention names now.
Yes.
What qualities are you seeing right now?
Okay, wait there. Wait right there. Yes. Wait right there. Okay. Are you aware of what Soludo told you of Kibaloye? Okay. He said, you won't get words out of my mouth this time around.
Okay.
So the only thing I can just urge Nigerians is that be guided by your conscience. Like I've said that before. Be guided by your conscience. Think long and hard. Make choices. Do you want to vote for short time, or you want to vote for longevity, or you want to, you see, they've said that a particular candidate is sick or something. You see, nobody knows who's going to die tomorrow. We've seen very fit people, even athletes who are fit, are giving up right there where they are doing.
Is it even right for candidates to talk about this as part of jobs?
Well, you are looking at it from the moral perspective. But you see, politics reduces everything to the state of nature, where anything goes, and that's why even the courts have interpreted many decisions that look, fair criticism is just okay. What is wrong is unfair criticism. I'm aware that we all have our sentiments. I've been to a media house. I'll tell you this story. Even those of us who are in the media too have to be very circumspect. I was in an interview. I was told that I'll be required. I'd gotten to the station and I was told that I'll be required to insult a certain political personality. And I said, for not doing anything. He said, how about the utterance he made? That young people will be made to serve, they will get agbado, they will get this. Nigerians may pick who I'm talking about, but I just don't want to do name calling. So I said, well, this person, concerning that, I'm aware, as at 24 hours, that's yesterday, at that time, that this person has issued a press statement, rendering unfettered apology. That it was a slip of tongue. Somebody wouldn't have done that, and I'll now be invited to come and start pouring invectives. I won't do this. I have conscience. Right in the middle of production, they stopped the broadcast and again told me that, look, we asked you to come here to abuse this person. Real life experience.
How much were they going to pay you?
You people don't pay us. Do you pay us? You journalists? We are all parties, so it's all right. I understand. It's a
No, all right, sometimes for corporate operations, for special operations.
They weren't paying any time. And I said, even if you are paying me, I wouldn't have done this. This man has said he erred. What more do you want? Just tell me, what more do you want? So I'm not going to be party to this. And so since then, that particular media house has not called me for interview, and I am just okay with it.
Now, in that regard, we should be talking about proliferation of media organizations. Of course, you are aware that we have politicians that have media organizations and some other persons, so to speak.
Yes.
But you are a journalist. What is your take on that, and how do you think that affects how we decide, we make decisions, so to speak? Don't forget that one of the problems or challenges of having objective reports and all of that is ownership, media ownership.
I know.
So how would you relate that to what determines how we decide, especially when it comes to leadership?
You know, Rotimi,
and going back to what you said.
Yeah, I get you.
Yes.
No matter how angered some of us want to get because of the influence of media owners on the democratic space, you can't do anything so much insofar as the Constitution supports the fact that we all have a right to freedom of what? Expression. So most of the media houses we have today, apart from the ones like NTA here, which were set up by government, most of them came out or evolved as an offshoot of Section 39 of the Constitution as amended, that everyone has the right to freedom of expression, and you have the right to hold your opinions anywhere without let or hindrance. So that is why. The only thing is that, in as much as they are proliferating media ownership, let us continue to proliferate good conscience as well. Yeah, okay. Good conscience, I believe, will negate all of those tendencies of the proliferation of media houses. Good conscience.
All right. Let's. We have to go on this break. Tosin Maliki has something for us in the world of sport. She talks about top golfers in history. You like golfing? Do you like that?
I like it, but I have billions in my account. It's for the rich.
Okay. All right. So she talks about top golfers in history with major awards, and we will be back to see what people had to say about this issue. We're on the street of Lagos. They had one or two things to say about it. We'll be back. Please go nowhere.
All of the greatest golfers of all time have had successful careers and have been able to reach their greatest successes, including winning major prizes and drawing large crowds in their tournaments. These are the top greatest golfers of all time. Jack Nicklaus. There is no question in mind that Jack Nicklaus is the greatest golfer to ever play the game. He has the most ever major championship wins with 18 to go, with his second most ever PGA Tour wins with 73. The Golden Bear won the Masters on 6 different occasions, the last coming when he was 46 years old, which makes him the oldest to ever win the tournament. Tiger Woods. A few short years ago, I would have told you Tiger Woods will forever be remembered as the greatest golfer of all time. Woods have won 14 majors, which is second all time, and he has won 71 PGA tournaments, which is third all time. He is only 35 years old and there is time yet to win. Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones had the potential to be the greatest golfer ever, and he never made a penny from winning a tournament. He won 13 major championships in his career, and he's still the only golfer ever to have won the Grand Slam, all 4 major championships in a single year. Andrew Odo. Andrew Odo is the only Nigerian golfer on the official world golf ranking at number 1,454. The 36-year-old golfer has won over 30 competitions and a few on the international scene. He's based in South Africa and he became a professional golfer in 2004. It is really amazing how Nigerians are breaking new ground in almost all fields of life around the world. Aside being the only Nigerian citizen on the official world golf ranking, he has been praised as the country's version of Tiger Woods. Bobby Lucky. Bobby Lucky is a South African professional golfer. He is generally regarded as one of the greatest golfers of all time. He won the Open Championship 4 times and 15 PGA Tour events in total. In addition, he was a prolific tournament winner in South Africa, ultimately recording over 50 significant victories in his home country, including the South African Open 9 times.
My name is Virginia every summer.
One, a leader must be purposeful. A leader is not someone who is title oriented. A leader is not someone who is how can I put it again? It's not title oriented, it's not position oriented. A leader must be people oriented. That is, what am I going to do for the betterment of the generality of the people? If a leader does not have a purpose, then it's going to be a bad leader. For example, if I want to be a president or a governor, for example, what is my purpose? It is not title. But in Nigeria and Africa, generally, you see that a leader is all about entitlement, position. I am the president, I am the governor. That is not leadership. Leadership must be all encompassing. That is purposeful leadership. So those are the qualities of being a good leader. There are factors in taking a decision. Like I will take you through decision making process now. If you want to take any decision, you must have alternatives. Having alternatives is another thing. Considering the factors that want to make you to make a decisive decision is another thing. Now, if you want to make a decision, for example, I want to choose someone as my leader, I'll look at the track records of that person. That's one. Secondly, I will look at his antecedent. That's two. I will look at his personality. That is three.
In identifying a good leader, we have to first of all look at their personality. That is basically. But to some extent, we might not know them, but to what they have done and their capability, we have to see to what they have achieved and what they intend to provide for the citizens. To be a good leader, you have to be honest, you have to be obedient, and you have to be dedicated. Because if you are not dedicated, there are times when you get to the leadership position, then you begin to misbehave. You think it's your personal rights or it's your family rights that you can just do away with.
And God-fearing is part of you being a good leader. And sometimes another quality of you being a good leader, a good leader should be ready to serve. Ready to serve, because you serving your people is still part of leadership. You understand? So God-fearing, ready to serve, at least you should be observant of your environment, not just being selfish of what you are going to gain. You should be able to, like a good leader should be able to tell, this my neighbor is hungry, or this is what is going on. What do I need to do about it to see how it will live? You understand? So, yes, their past records should be able to tell. You get it? So that's it.
A track record. What has it done in the past? Fortunately, the four foreigners have been in public office before, so I look back and see what have they done, what have they achieved. And the people around them, because capacity, the country is complex. We have more than 300 ethnic groups. The country is complex. So the person that's going to be president must have capacity, and that depends on the people around them who are advising him. It's not a one-man show. A woman cannot do it. Woman cannot do it. In terms of what they have done in the past, what have they achieved in the past? What have they achieved in the past in terms of their stated objectives? That's what I will use. If a leader has not achieved much in the past and it's coming around to ask my vote, I won't vote for him. I'll look at what he has done in the past, not on rhetoric or ethnic nationality, and what has he achieved in the past when he was in public office.
The quality the leader should possess is when you look at the person, his antecedent. You understand? Maybe he has served before in various any capacity. You look at the antecedent. You understand? Now you look at, is it a God-fearing person? Because you start with that one. This man is a God-fearing person. Yes, when he was in so place, this is the antecedent. So we can start now and judge from there. His past record. You understand? Then we can say, okay, let us try this one. That is it.
My name is Virginia Elvis
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. This is your viewpoint on NTA Channel 10 Lagos and Start Times 103. We've been talking about a lot of things you need to know about identifying effective leaders that would deliver. Note that part, leaders that would deliver. And of course, Tosin Akonde has said so much about what you need to consider, the factors you need to consider when your conscience is one of those things you need to put into action. This time around, we still have more messages for you as regards what we are talking about today. Inya Ovuru from Saboyaba says, in my opinion, people are discouraged about even casting their votes because these leaders make a lot of promises. When they get into the position of authority, they forget all their promises to Nigerians. And that's quite a topic on its own. Making promises, how do you know that this person will deliver? Okay, this person has said a lot of things about what he wants to do. How would you tell?
You see, Rotimi, one thing we need to spell out to Nigerians is that is the yardstick. You need to make promises. Okay. Because it is it's what the Oyinbo people call manifesto. It is, you just have to come. That's why when Jonathan said, I won't want to make a promise so that I will not disappoint you. No, some of us, you have to make us a promise. It's core.
At least you must have a
core to democracy. You must share your vision with us. You have to share your vision with us so that it is those things that we will use as yardstick to assess your performance. All right, and that's what they are using for APC now. They said they will give us electricity in 6 months. They never did. They said they will feed the children at a point.
Well, let's leave that. Let's talk about
so forth.
How you would know now. Okay, fine. We understand that people make promises.
Yes.
Parties make promises.
Yes.
But how do you determine who will fulfill those promises?
Well, that's down to exigencies of life. Nigeria shouldn't be asking for too much. Even they themselves, haven't they been making promises that have not yet been met? So you don't. But it's core to democracy. Aspirants into various offices must come and tell us what they want to do for us. If you don't tell us what you want to do for us, we have no reason.
Can you determine if
even bat an eyelid
in the course of making your promises? Can you tell if somebody is just making false promises? Is it possible?
Well, there are certain. Okay, for example, if you tell me that you want to turn Lagos into New York inside 4 years, by electon delay. So it's not realistic.
That's quite interesting anyway.
It is not realistic. There's this smart concept. It has to be measurable. It has to be specific,
achievable,
measurable,
realistic,
and time bound. Okay. So if you are able to, all the things you are saying, we'll measure it against those 5 concepts. If it doesn't match, okay, we leave it apart. So, but you come up as a legislator, for example. When I was running, I remember in 2019, I said, look, I'm going to make Lagosians go back to 2003. A certain effort was made here by a certain governor at that time that we needed more local council authorities. The Supreme Court decided that it was incorrect. Now, has anybody bothered to find out? Till today, nobody has taken it up. I took the issue of LCDAs up as a central campaign manifesto, that if I was elected into the House of Reps, those are the issues I'm going to revisit first, because at the moment Lagos still has 20 local governments recognized by the federal government and not 57 we think we have created, but we are using 57, but it's 20 that comes as in form of allocation. So these are issues that I expected lawmakers to have thought about, that okay, even the person that said he was going to do this never got the opportunity to come here. We can borrow a leaf from it and discuss it. These are issues that are going to mean well for the entire Lagos, not just my constituency.
So you can determine in the course of looking at those issues to discuss.
Yes,
issues
you can tell okay, if this promise is going to be indeed realistic, if can he achieve this in 4 years, yes, we can. It's all going to be subjected to first reading, second reading, and third and final reading. And then before you know it, Lagosians can...
And a lot of people don't know that.
That's what I am saying. That you look, even the whole thing sometimes sickens. Even the entire Nigerian populace. How much of democracy do they understand? So that's why I said there's so much to still be done by the political parties and the INEC in terms of voters' education. There are a lot of things that Nigerians don't know.
Okay, let's take this message from Uzo Kelechukwu from Costain. Says, my advice is that people should stop selling their votes to these corrupt politicians. We need to stand up and fight for our rights. This can only happen when we come out en masse and vote for the right candidate. Secondly, we need to pray and entrust this country in the hands of God. With this, what's your take on religion and leadership? How do we should religion be considered when choosing a leader? Because one of those things, one of those issues we have in this country is religion. So how people, the way religion is taken into consideration in determining something.
Rotimi, let me not answer you squarely.
Okay.
Based on the issue of religion, let me talk about equity.
Okay.
Because if you say religion, well, that means you are being discriminatory.
Okay.
Was there no sense, or was there no religion for those who practice the third leg of the realm? Those who do Obatala and Shango,
okay.
Of course they had their own kinds of worship too. I'm not going to discriminate against you. Can't discriminate against them, even though I'm of the Christian faith, and I believe solely that even the work of evangelism itself, it is God that is still behind it. After all, they said 1 Corinthians 3:6, they said Apollos, Paul planted, Apollos watered, but the Lord gave the increase. So it's not for anybody to come and start telling me I brought 17 people to church. That's Badash. That's by the way, anyway. So let's talk about anything that is capable of bringing about differences or differentiating us. So fine, religion comes in that respect. So what I would have expected was that, okay, let's be fair. Let's do equity so that both leaders, Trono, can, subscribe to either. They will be adherents of either of the two foremost religions. It's ironical anyway for people like us that Africa now has foremost religions that came from outside of it, but that's a topic for another day, all right? So, but then they decided, that's what I was telling you about politics and what the leaders will always want. There are those in the majority. Okay, so they said they want a Muslim ticket. It's okay. They are going by it, and it's up for Nigerians to react to that by the election results that will come out therefrom.
All right, thank you so much. I've been speaking with Tosin Akonde, and of course we've been discussing issues surrounding how to identify leaders that will deliver, leaders that can deliver, and what we need to know, what we need to do to get the best leaders in position. Of course, you can reach us if you have comments, contributions. You can drop them on our comment section on our social media pages. The handle is at @your_viewpoint. Of course, be able to take your messages in our subsequent editions. Tosin Akonde, your parting shot, and I would like you to talk briefly about the issue of trust. Now, even if you have chosen a leader, what role would trust play? And you sign off with that.
Trust?
Yes.
Trust no one. you requested that I be brief.
Okay.
So, Nigerians, trust no one.
Okay, that's it from Tosin Akonde. Thank you so much. We have to wrap it up here. Be sure to join us same time, same station. We'll be back again. This is Your Viewpoint. I am Rotimi Akintunde. Bye for now.